All right, back to score 6. We're going to continue our journey of completing the input of all of the various notes. And at the end of the note input session, we'll talk a little bit more in detail about what you can do with the dynamics and how you can modify the way that the program generates dynamics. Okay, N for note input, and I'm just going to go through this quickly. You, of course, can go at your own speed when you're inputting. If you've never done this before, you'll probably be a little bit slower. You'll want to maybe watch through the video and then try it on your own, or maybe you want to sort of roughly try to match it up with what I'm doing here. Starting with the right hand input, D, E, F. I'm just following along the second line. And this is nice, straightforward note input because the notes are all stepwise, pretty much. So I don't have to do any tricky modification. When I get to the end of that line, I'm hitting enter so that I've got a new line. And oh, would you look at that? Is the last line completely identical to the first? Well, I see a slight difference, but I can modify that really easy. I'm just going to copy and paste the entire first line because then that saves me the effort of doing a whole bunch of new input. Let's check the right hand. Is it identical? C, D, E, E. So far, so good. So far, so good. E, F, D. So the only change that I noticed when I was looking through this, I'm going to get rid of the slur and we're going to modify this note. So we're going to change it from being a dotted half note to a half note. This is really easy to do. So all I'm going to do is hit the number 6 because that's going to transform that note into a half note. Then I'm going to click the rest and note input, make sure it's set to a quarter note. It is, and a G. There we go. So I've made this slight little change here. I've just got to put the slur back in place. There's the slur, and then we have one more slur to finish. Highlight, and then just the S button. All the other finger markings that I wanted and such are there. I don't really need to add any more fingering, and actually the crescendo ends up being in precisely the same place. So now I just have to finish the second line. Note input mode, 6 dots to get that dotted half note, G, wrong octave, control up, G, C. Oh, I don't know why I went way low. Control up. Get that in the right octave. Okay, 6 for a half note. I gotta move that up again. 5 for the quarter note for E, and then I'm back 6 dots to the dotted half notes. G, G, C. Control down. Now, something interesting is there's an empty bar where there should be or could be a rest. I have a couple options here. If I want to perfectly copy the way that this music is written, I'm going to make this rest invisible. So all I've done is I've selected the rest and I'm going to hit the V. That's going to just make it invisible. Obviously, you can still see it on this. It's like grayed out a little bit just to show you it's still there. But if I export this as a PDF, it will not appear on the PDF. So that's kind of cool. And as far as dynamics, it looks like I've just got a mezzo forte. So I've selected the note and I'll just plunk a mezzo forte down. And there we go. Maybe the last thing, looks like I've got a repeat to add. So repeats and jumps. I'm just gonna, you'll notice something actually. I never showed you this before. We've got 2 selections and palettes. We've got repeats and jumps, and we've also got bar lines. Both of those can get you a repeat. You'll notice the bar line repeats are here. Repeats and jumps, I could do the same thing. I could just drag that repeat right here. Either way works perfectly fine. And I've got to add one to the second line as well. So I'll just drag and drop that. Okay, perfect. So our formatting's pretty good. I'm actually going to blow it up a little bit if I can. Let's see if I can extend. Oh, I went too far. Okay, so 0.079 is going to be really nice spacing, so it's easier to read. Okay, so now let's look at the more detailed dynamic input stuff. All right, I'm back. I had to update my Musescore so that I could show you what I was trying to show you before. Okay, so I've got my dynamics all on the page, and I'm going to right click and go to edit element. I'm going to show you something that I think, not edit element. I'm going to go to select similar. Let's just do similar. So now you see in purple, all of my dynamic markings have been selected. This means that any edits I make to one dynamic is going to apply to all of them, which is going to be way more what I'm kind of looking for here. So I'm going to go to the properties, and we've got a couple things we could do here. We could change the scale of the dynamics by making them bigger if I wanted to do that for some reason. I could change, this is what I actually wanted to show you, but we can change the position. We could move them above or below. I like to have them in the middle. Center between staves is on automatic, but yeah, it usually looks good if it's right in the middle. But there's this voice assignment component, and what that's going to allow you to do if you have multiple voices, or if you wanted to limit the range of the dynamics, like maybe you don't want the dynamics to apply to both hands, for example, you can change the what they apply to. This becomes more important if you have a piece with multiple voices, which we don't in this case. We just want to select all voices on this instrument. And then if we hit the playback button, you should be able to hear. Let's actually make sure our voice assignment for this, you can even change the line style and stuff, which is pretty cool. The position's good. It's assigned to all. So I'm going to hit the play button. Let's see if we can actually hear this crescendo. So it's pretty subtle. I don't feel like I'm noticing much difference between piano and mezzo forte, but you can hear it a little bit. I don't think Musescore maybe has like that much range, but if I just hit play here and then play here, there is like a slight volume difference. There are ways to manipulate the volume. Again, I don't know that there's a lot of, you're going to notice like big dramatic effects during playback. I don't think we have any other major things that we need to look at here. But you can also, in the newer version of Musescore, you can also like very easily update your dynamic. Like let's say you don't like the mezzo forte here. Let's just make it forte. That's going to sound bigger and better. And actually, let's make this more extreme. Pianissimo. Let's see if this creates a bigger movement in our piece now. That's quite a bit quieter. So now what we hear, or at least this is what I heard a really big jump from pianissimo to forte, but I didn't hear so much of the crescendo. So I'm going to increase its range. You can see it's highlighted which notes it's applying to. So I want to make the crescendo a little bit bigger. I wonder if we can get a more dramatic sound out of our crescendo. There's something else I might want to try too. So maybe I'll try, okay, well, if this is the hairpin style, maybe I can do the crescendo line, and we'll see if we hear something there. There we go. That was a little bit more gradual, right? Because it didn't feel like such a sharp line to the forte. That sounded pretty good. Let's see what happens if I drag, just for fun, a diminuendo and extend the line to go to the very end of the second line. Let's see if we can hear a change with this addition. There we go. Yeah, we're definitely hearing that. Okay, so play around with the dynamics again. You might want to, if you want to select all of the dynamics, which I, again, think is really useful, you can click select similar. If you want to modify a particular dynamic, you select it and go to properties, and that's going to give you an option to change the scale, the position, the voice assignment, and all of that good stuff. If that's at all, this is maybe a little bit more advanced, but I think it's useful to know.